Welcome back, watch fans. Today we're talking about the world's greatest watch company. Believe it or not, it is Rolex. It is Rolex. And you know what? The story I'm going to tell you actually is a great American success story. Well, not really American. It's actually, I don't know, Swiss, German, English, whatever. But look, it's an aspirational story which I think resonates with a lot of people and also could be part of the DNA that's really made Rolex a great company. Again, I just want to reiterate, I am not, even though I'm wearing a Rolex, I'm not a Rolex fanboy, okay? I'm just not. I have a few of their watches. Yeah, I like more vintage Patek, AP. I'm into other things, right? But at the end of the day, why do we always come back to Rolex? Why is that, okay? You know, you could be wearing a Patek perpetual calendar, a Royal Oak, whatever it is, but at the end of the day, why do we always come back to a Rolex? And I think the story starts with Hans Wilsdorf. The story starts with Hans Wilsdorf, which is probably the world's greatest fake it till you make it success story, right? So look, this guy was not a watchmaker, like he was not a Patek Philippe, an Audemars, none of that stuff, right? He was just some schmo that decided to outsource watchmaking, but he knew about the grift. He knew about grifting. He knew about advertising and marketing. And he really was the world's greatest marketer. So let's come up with a concept. Number one is the brand name Rolex. Rolex. What does it mean? It means nothing. It's like Kodak. You kids today don't remember this, but Kodak was a company that made something called film. There used to be a device called a camera, which was like analog. Before digital, it was like you put film and then you get it developed, like, that type of thing, right? And Kodak became the world's greatest company. It really was a great, amazing company for a long time. And part of their success was because of the name Kodak, right? The name Kodak means nothing. It means like literally nothing. It means just the same as a Rolex. But the guy who invented Kodak, George Eastman, if I'm not mistaken, right? George Eastman wanted to have a name that could be pronounced in any language in the world. Any language. And Kodak was that name. And Rolex is kind of the same thing, right? Rolex is one of these names that basically means nothing, but it could be pronounced in any language. Yeah, I think being Japanese, you have to say Rolex, but close enough, right? Same idea. But here's the genius. So the genius was, number one, is the brand name Rolex, which is kind of I think it's also very kind of when that name, I think, was patented or trademarked, which was, I guess, in the 1920s, 30s, I don't know, whatever. I'm not here to do history work. But look, back in that day, things ending with the word X had like a very high-tech sound to them. It was just like, it was just one of those things. It was like, there's always fads for certain names, things like that. Well, anything ending with like X was like considered like high tech and, ahead of its time, whatever, right? By the way, there was a company called Bolex, Bolex, which is a film camera company. Probably started around that same time, and maybe not much later. And they made cameras, film cameras. I don't know if they're still around. But same idea. There's a bunch of other companies, same thing. But anyway, so the genius of this guy, number one, is he had the brand name, cool name that could be pronounced by anybody. Simple. Also, Rolex, 5 letters. So I think 5 letters is like Kodak. There you go, 5 letters. Kodak, Rolex, great brands. All use 4 or 5 letters. I mean, if you can have a brand with 4 or 5 letters, that's it. Yeah, not like this Audemars Piguet. You have to figure out how do you pronounce it, or Jaeger, Le Cool Tray. You don't want to get involved in that stuff. That's why those companies never will make it to big top. They'll never be bigly and huge. Okay, they just won't. Even look at the Loro Piana. Simple name, right? Loro Piana. Only 4 or 5 letters. So you understand where I'm going with this, right? So anyway, back to the story. So the next step of the genius was he was the first guy to really hire celebrities to like endorse watches. I think he He came up with a waterproof watch. They did a waterproof watch, which I don't think he designed. Somebody who doesn't really matter. Look, what matters is the guy who marketed it. Okay, the guy who put up the money is what matters. But he got this waterproof watch, and then he hired some like swimmer to I don't know, piss on the watch or whatever it is. Anyway, the watch was waterproof, and the swimmer was famous for the Olympics in whatever, the 1920s, whatever it was. And that was the first real big endorsement deal. Like, that was way ahead of its time. So that really made a splash. But here's the thing. Why do I admire Rolex at the end of the day? Why? Because the guy had like real balls. It was like a real fake it till you make it company. It wasn't like he didn't have a heritage brand. It wasn't, again, you have to think about it. When he started, people, there were these established companies or whatever. It wasn't like it is today, but still, it was Patek, whether it was Patek, whether it was Universal, Genève, there was a bunch of others. You don't even know these names. It was a Jensen or something, Urban Jurgens, whatever. I don't even know these names. But the point is, Rolex was a nobody when he started. All he had was a cool brand. He had a cool brand and celebrity endorsements. And from that, they just iterated it, and it was very small, minute iterations. It wasn't like major changes. They always, the thing with the Rolex is, when you think about it, since the 1950s, since the 1960s or 50s, they're really almost completely focused on just these like sports what we call today sports models, right? They had more like, the complications, the triple calendar, kind of cool stuff. But they got away from that and started doing just simple watches. Why? Why did they just do simple watches? It's interesting. I don't know, because, it's not as prestigious, right? The Stelline is a beautiful watch. The Stelline, what's the model number? I forget the model, but it's called a Stelline. That's the triple calendar. It's got the little stars. And it's an amazing watch from the 1950s, right? But why aren't they still doing that? I guess because, it's easier, and, at the end of the day, it makes more sense to sell basic watches that are reliable. And here's the other thing, right? The Rolex is really reliable. I think the thing with the Rolex, the reason I think why everybody comes back to it, the reason why I have it on the wrist today, you know why I have it on the wrist? You know why I have this on the wrist today? You Google it. No, the reason I have it is because, I had the JLC dual time, right? Because I'm ready to go on a trip. I have the dual time, and all of a sudden the dual time stops working. Basically the power is running. It's having issues, right? It's got some complications, and the watch is not even that old. The watch is only like, how old is the watch? The watch is like, the watch is like a 2012 watch, maybe, something like that. I don't know. It's not that old. And also, it hasn't even been worn. It hasn't even been worn that much, right? It's only been worn probably not too many times, because I got it in really good condition. So it's really very, very fresh. Came with a full set, everything. It was probably worn 20 times, 30 times maybe by the time I got it. But still, why does it need to go for service? I was hoping it wouldn't, but this has already happened a couple of times where the power just runs out, and I don't know what the hell is going on, right? So it's not reliable. And by the way, I have a couple of other watches that are, listen, I got a whole bunch of stuff now. It's all adding up. We got a bunch of things where we have deferred maintenance. We got deferred maintenance with a bunch of watches now. And it's not fun. I have like probably 3 watches that have deferred maintenance issues. Basically, I need to get serviced. And guess what? Guess which brand is not on that list? Rolex. Rolex is not on that list. Okay, excuse me. No, I'm sorry. No, there is one Rolex that's a turnograph, which is a 1972 turnograph. That's the two-tone one, and that one, it's not the movement. It's not the movement. The movement's, there's never a problem with it. It's just that I think what happened is the crystal needs to be replaced, or something is whatever. It's old. The thing's 50 years old. That watch was definitely worn. And things happen after 50 years or whatever, right? So I'm looking probably at $1,000 bill, $1,500 bill. Which I don't even know if I want to do it because the watch is not worth that much, right? But generally speaking, the Rolex. The good thing is, I think the reason why we always come back is they're reliable, and you can get them repaired. For example, the Turnograph, I can get that watch. I know multiple places that'll fix it, and the parts I can get the crystal. From that era, I can get whatever I need to get. I can get, so it's not a problem. We got, hang on, just make sure. We got, there we go. Non-binary, lesbian, they, them. They, them. Does that describe Bukyakistan, Chomostan, or Kakistan? I don't know. This bothers me. I think it's a Catholic church. I mean, this is like, isn't that like, I don't know. It's a little bit too much. This is a little too, I don't know. Aren't the Catholics supposed to be like, the, what is it, serious Christians who, that's like not like a reform thing, right? They're like, follow the Bible, right? Isn't sodomy like it's mentioned right there, right along with bestiality, right? No, all kidding aside, it's I think homosexuality is mentioned right with bestiality and incest. So, I think it's a slippery slope when you start promoting, this whole thing. I mean, look, it says God loves everyone with that. Yeah, 100%. It's like parents love their children, right? No matter what, right? But there's like certain rules. I mean, you don't have to follow them. But if you're going to be, like Catholic, there's part of a rule book. No, it's part of a rule book. By the way, these doors, beautiful doors. That's like. This design is from the, what do you call it, in Firenze. Is it Firenze? Yeah, I think it's Firenze. Yeah, the famous design, doors, bronze doors, beautiful design. Anyway, no, we're not here to do political commentary. We're here to talk about Rolex. Okay, we're here to talk about the world of Rolex, and it is what it is. It's just a great watch. It's reliable. There's no nonsense. I could take it swimming, the rubber bracelet, golf, whatever you want. You can sell it anywhere in the world. So at the end of the day, you know what? At the end of the day, we all come back to Rolex. It's only a matter of time before Archie Luxury, the Bogan of Brisbane, the Bogan of Brisbane, what's going to happen, right? You guys know what's going to happen, right? What's going to happen is in about a month or two, because, you got to create drama for these channels. What he's going to do is he's going to, look at this. This is the Audi wagon. I love wagons. It's the turbo wagon. Now, I had an A4, which was a piece of shit. This is the better one. They didn't have that in my time, but that's a very cool thing. The turbo wagon. That is a cool car. But what Archie's going to do is Archie is going to sell his collection of Breguet, the Breguet Trio. You Google it. Okay, you Google it. I guarantee you, in a few months, the Bogan of Brisbane is going to announce, okay, I'm selling all the shitter Breguets, the Breguet shitter trio, and going all in on a Rolex. He's going to sell the 3 Breguet shitters, and he's going to buy probably 3 identical Rolex. How much you guys want to bet? Wow, this is where they stuff the ballots. This is where they stuff the fake Biden votes from 2020. That's right, unbelievable true. That's where it happened. All right, gentlemen's, and I do mean gentlemen's. Don't get flim-flammed by these Muppet Boiler Room channels, these Archie Bogan Brisbanes, these grifters, these rat bastards, e-beggars. Don't feed these rats. These guys are begging for donations. Don't feed these bastards. Let them all starve. The fat Archie needs to lose weight, that fat slob. He needs to drop 200 pounds. When you donate money to the Arch channel, it's actually probably, it's almost like a murder. It's like murder, because when you feed that rat bastard, that means he's going to be, eating more food. He's going to be, engaging in, bestiality with ladyboys and bangers and hunkers, yeah. And, so it's actually not good for his health. Don't feed that fat bastard Archie. Stop feeding that fat beast of Brisbane, the bogan of Brisbane. Okay, let him starve. He's got to lose a couple 100 pounds. You got the other bastard, that JJ Bukiak. You got Artem Pizdets, the Ukrainian grifter. Don't feed that bastard Ukrainian grifter, Artem Pizdets, Tim Wright. Tim Wright is a Ukrainian draft dodger. Let him go back, fight for his homeland. Let him get deported. Okay, the guy needs to be deported. And he needs to go to the front lines. He needs to go to the front lines and fight for his country. Okay, he needs to fight for his country. So does that Irish bastard, that what's that guy's name? The grifter of Venice. Then you got the real grifter. We got Don Corleone, Il Duce de Chomostan, right? That's right, Don Corleone, the Chomostan, the Duke of Chomostan. You know what that means? Il Duce de Chomostan. Don Corleone, Il Duce de Chomostan. You know what that means? He's like the Grand Wizard, the Ku Klux Klan Grand Wizard of Chomostan. You know where Chomostan is? You don't know where that is? You Google it. That's right, you Google it. Unbelievable, but true. All right, gentlemen, leave your nasty, vicious comments below. Send money now to the channel. It's hard out there. It's hard. Guys, the markets are crashing. We need money now for the channel.